Most parents I work with usually have this sort of split. There's the downstairs parent and the upstairs parent. The downstairs parent is the parent that's usually running the day-to-day operation with the kids, that's much more in touch with their homework, with their schools, with their activities, with their clubs. And there's the upstairs parent who's usually more at work or more doing workshops or trainings, or is more hovering around. But this downstairs parent and the upstairs parent, this split, this dichotomy, is actually hurting your family and hurting your kids. And today I'm going to explain to you how and why you should change that. Hi, my name is Dr. Assael Romanelli, and this is Potential State, and today we're in OWNURSH Parenting 1. Are you the upstairs parent or the downstairs parents? So in most couples, there's always a natural split. I give them always blunt names for these roles. The first one I call is the married single parent, who's usually the know-it-all, the one that's controlling, the one that's running the show. Usually they become really bitter and angry at their partner that's not pulling their weight, or sometimes I call it the parent under the stretcher. In other words, we call this the downstairs parent, and in couples therapy, we call this the over-functioning parent. Okay? Usually in heterosexual couples, it will be the woman, the mom. The other role is the upstairs parent. It's either the visitor or kind of the adolescent, the teenage parent, the parent that's actually like their fourth or fifth kid. They're not pulling their weight. They're mostly gossiping and fooling around with the kids, not laying down any discipline, not taking a burden of the responsibilities. And that's called the upstairs or the underfunctioning parent. So why would there be this role? Because there's secondary gains to each role. The downstairs parent, or the married single parents, okay, is usually over-functioning. What do they gain? They gain control and power. They're immune to criticism because they're running the show, and anything that goes wrong, you can say, well, I'm alone here. You're not helping me. They get the respect from the kids and from their fans and family. They're saying, good for you. You're pulling the weight all the time. And the biggest advantage, they have a monopoly over child rearing. What's going to be happening? What schools are going to go to? How are they going to be educated? The downstairs parent decides that. What's their price? What's the tax for that? You're heavy, less play. You're often seen as the bad cop. There's less vitality, less curiosity and wonder, because you have to actually run the show. You're under fire every single day with the kids. Now let's go to the upstairs parent. The upstairs parent, or the underfunctioning parent, okay, has freedom. There's lack of responsibility. They can come in and out as they go. They're usually more fun. They have the more deep conversations because they're not busy in the day-to-day logistics. But what do they lose? They lose the respect of their partner. They don't have a seat at the table. They're passive. They're reactive. They're seen as childish. Oftentimes they'll be jabbed as, you're my fifth kid or my fourth kid or my third kid. It's not sexy. It's pathetic. It's looked down on. So what happens is these two partners, it's just like a natural split, almost like the 95-70 that we spoke about in previous episodes. But the problem is when it becomes too rigid, it leads to a tag team. So the two parents are never working together. It's an either or. And then usually what happens, the kids will stand on the shoulders of the upstairs parent who's actually feeling threatened by the downstairs parent and start jabbing or ridiculing or mocking the downstairs parent. And the worst thing is that kids will learn that this is normal, and they will recreate that in their own marriages as parents. They will either become the upstairs parent or the downstairs parent, thinking that there's just one option. So I want to give you a little example of that, how that looks in the clinic and also in real life. So there's one couple I was working with. He was a big guy, and he was the adolescent. He was the teenager, and he'd move between being the angry teenager and getting angry and yelling to the teenager that's on the phone the whole time. And she was very, very lonely. And as we were looking at the gains and losses of her being the bitter, know-it-all single mom, she realized that she was just sad. And what was interesting is that the sadder she was, the more blind and gullible he needed to become to not see her loneliness and her sadness. And that dance has been going on for 7 years already in their marriage. And both of them learned those roles from their parents. She actually decided she didn't want to be like her mom, but she ended up recreating that married single parent. And his dad was irresponsible, and he found himself being the irresponsible dad, running away to work, running away to his iPhone, and not understanding what needs to be done. I want to give another example of another heterosexual couple where the woman was the upstairs parent. This was a few years back, and she was big into self-development, and she would go to trainings and seminars. She was a brilliant woman, and working with a lot of different people. And she ended up being the upstairs parent while her partner was downstairs actually doing the day-to-day logistics. And what happened was, as they were entering the end of their relationship and they were divorcing and they wanted to kind of talk about custody, what happened was the kids were not used to being with her because she was the upstairs parent. And she had to decide, was she willing to go downstairs and meet him there? Because another one of the consequences, the upstairs parents' view on education is not valid. And their interpretation or their understanding of what's happening with the kids or how the kids should be treated is usually disregarded because they're not under the stretcher, because they're not downstairs. So those are two examples of how that looks in the clinic. So how do you actually change that? So first of all, reflect, which parent are you? Are you the upstairs or the downstairs? You should know after listening to these concepts. You pretty much know. If you don't, ask your partner. Write down for yourself, what are you gaining, what are you losing from that role? You obviously chose one of these two roles because either that's what you knew from home, or that's what fit you at the time, or that's where you need your energy to go. And just see, if you see that you have more losses than gains, so then it's time to start opening that up with your partner. Share this video with your partner. And remember, there's going to be a long-term, slow, second-order systematic change. So if you're the upstairs parent, the first thing you need to do is start going downstairs. Start taking responsibility. Say, I got it. You can refer to that episode as well. And just do it trembling, but do it. Take a project, take leadership, take ownership, expect belittling and challenging and ridicule from your partner, from the downstairs partner, because they're not used to you coming downstairs, and stay there. When it gets hard, don't run back upstairs. Don't give up. Stay there. Slowly show to your kids and to your partner that you're willing, that you're under the stretcher, that you're downstairs. That will give a wonderful gift to the downstairs parent of letting go, of relaxing. And many times a downstairs parent is the more bitter parent because they're actually busy on the day-to-day. If you're the downstairs parent, release control. Realize that you cannot do everything, and if you really want to lean on your partner, they're going to do it differently and probably not as good as you. So you need to let go of control and really release that and not go over their shoulders and micromanage what they're doing. Over time, what's going to happen is there are going to be lots of ruptures, lots of explosions, and lots of holy trinity of blocking. All these things are going to happen because you're trying new roles that you're not used to. But over time, if you achieve that, you'll soften this dichotomy. This will help soften your kids' evolving ethos, evolving dichotomies, and it's going to bring a more flexible and fluid home, giving all of you permission to be much more of yourselves, bring different shades of yourself. So there's no need to be downstairs or upstairs. You guys can share it. You can sometimes be on the same floor. Sometimes you can be in the middle. But at the end of the day, remember, it's not an either or. It's a yes and. My name is Dr. Assael Romanelli, and this was The Potential State. I'll see you next time.